So it's Marianne Hobbs. This is BBC Radio 6 Music. Welcome if you are just joining us. And right now I am thrilled to bits to bring Shygirl on. And I need to let you know that she was over in our legendary space in West London just last week to play especially for us and to celebrate the release of her debut album, Nymph.
Marianne Hobbs
on BBC Radio 6 Music.
Welcome to BBC Radio 6 Music.
Thank you.
You're down at the BBC's Maida Vale studios, and how does it feel down there? What's the vibe like?
It almost feels like home now, because it's actually the third time I've been in here in the same room. So I'm kind of glad it feels familiar. It feels like a nice comment on where I'm at right now. I didn't actually realise what a relief putting an album out would be.
I really do hear that. I mean, it's such a dramatic moment, isn't it? The moment at which you drop a debut album. Tell me about that experience. How did it feel for you?
Well, I'm quite an emotional. I'm definitely a crier. How I process my emotions is just to cry all the time, which I feel like you kind of get a bit of a high off it after a while. And definitely the night we dropped the album, I just cried so much. I was surrounded by so many friends. That night I did a screening of the last video I made, and had some fans there as well. And I honestly just felt like such an outpouring of love from everyone that it was quite overwhelming. And I think I'd been so focused on working and like making the music that I hadn't really imagined the point afterwards, and to be there all of a sudden was a bit of a shock. It's taken me a couple of days to like let it sink in and really like appreciate it.
I have to say, every time I see your face smiling from a poster on the tube line on the Victoria line, I'm like, yeah, that's my girl.
No, I was saying to someone else, I was like, it feels a bit like omniscient presence at the moment. Like, there's so many billboards in London. So, like, I definitely have a bit of an ego.
Tell me a bit about what you wanted to do with this record. I mean, I know that obviously you work at great length and depth with Sega Bodega, but you've brought in a whole raft of producers, haven't you, this time?
Yeah, like the people that I'd kind of been tinkering away is in the background, and like had become really close friends on BDE before as well. So I think everyone's kind of a little bit familiar, but not in a bigger project. Like, it kind of been touches here and there on singles. It's invaluable, this kind of space that they've given me where they believed in where we were going with the album, because I definitely didn't really explain the destination. I was like, just trust me, I know what I'm talking about, even though I'm not using any of the correct words or explaining it in the technical language that you're used to. I'm talking about it in prose, but yeah, just trust me, it's going to sound good. So yeah, I just wanted to make something really honest about who I am as a person, not just as an artist.
Yeah. I have to be really honest with you and say to you that I am quite an introvert as a human being. And so I love listening to your music because I think there's something about your confidence that really rubs off on me, and I can kind of channel vicariously through your confidence if I need to, you know.
This album, I've become the most confident I've ever been. Like, a lot of the times I'm kind of like fake it to make it, and like I just fill the role of whatever's needed in the room. But this album, I'm like, no, I feel good calling myself an artist right now. I feel confident. After Alias, a lot of people had given me more confidence, you know, by telling me how much they connected with the music, and it kind of validated my process of just like satisfying myself first with the music, and then people just connecting with it naturally afterwards. And I kind of had to blindly believe that when I was making this album.
Yeah, there's nothing like a bit of blind belief though, isn't there? You know, you have to trust your gut, I guess, don't you? And you have to know which way that you're heading.
Yeah, like gut instinct relies on very minimal facts. So I think I've definitely just been following the thread of my interests, and just like, I've never felt as proud of a piece of work as I do in this.
Tell me a bit about what you learned.
I learned an element of fearlessness and humility as well, because, you know, in this time I've been playing loads of festivals and I've been on stage, which I didn't really get with the last record so much because we were in lockdown. And there was something about being on stage and being like entirely vulnerable, you know, and human, that just kind of, I wanted to inject back into the studio. And I did take that into some parts of making the album because I wanted to feel like that spontaneity and that vulnerability, how could I inject that in there sonically? And it was like how I approached some of the more sentimental lyrics, I guess, rather than the bold and brash lyrics that were already kind of used to from me. Firefly especially is like one that was a way softer, and to be on stage singing that show after show just really gives me this crazy energy, just to be there and tell people how sad I've been and how good I feel now, and how it's fine to feel like low sometimes because the highs feel so much better afterwards.
Speaking of gigs, you've got some really big shows coming up, haven't you? Printworks on December the 1st and the Albert Hall in Manchester on the 2nd. And you're touring, I don't know, right across the globe on either side of those UK dates. How are you feeling when you're stepping out onto those really big stages?
If I'm honest, I used to hate shows. It would be the last thing I would think about, but I've really grown to love it. And I honestly think that's credit to the crowds, because they've been so energized and so enthusiastic, singing every lyric back at me, and it's hard not to get an ego boost off of that experience. It definitely has become a little bit addictive, but also just I talk on stage to my audience. I feel like we get to know each other in those moments, and the idea of playing these bigger shows and getting that huge energy transference from everyone is just really exciting.
Yeah, I hear that. There's an amazing sort of, I guess it's an exchange of symbiotic energy, really, and you don't find that anywhere else on the face of God's good earth, really, do you?
No, it's really like a religious experience.
So listen, what are you going to do for us today?
Today, I'm taking you through 3 of my current favourites on the album. That would be Poison, Woe, and Slut.
Wonderful. Well, listen, have a blast down at the BBC's Maida Vale studios. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you so much for inviting me. Every time we part, all the times you run away, leaving in the space nothing but a twisted melody. It's to meet back at the start and begin the game we play. Can never get it wrong, I know you're falling for me. No remedy, no cure for me. Call me poison, pulse rate quickens as I close in. Your heart will stop for me, but we start again, working to the beat of this broken rhythm. Closer you get to flatline, bring you back, I'll bring you back. Whenever you see the bright light, I'll bring you back, I'll bring you back. Closer you get to flatline, bring you back, I'll bring you back. Whenever you see the bright light, I'll bring you back, I'll bring you back. Always on your mind, go back and repeat. Never moving far from the point that you met with me. I know this must be hard, but it could be so easy. Just give up open wide and take in all of me. Closer you get to flatline, bring you back, I'll bring you back. Whenever you see the bright light, I'll bring you back, I'll bring you back. Closer you get to flatline, bring you back, I'll bring you back. Whenever you see the bright light, I'll bring you back, I'll bring you back. do it so well. Smiling faces fade just to leave a shell. You just love to hate, yeah, you do it so well. Smiling faces fade just to leave a shell. Pretty pictures in the flashlights, passing cars like ships rough ride. I don't have no friends with me, no best friends, no cute Cody. Whoa, whoa, you don't know what I know, do you though? Whoa, whoa, you don't know what I know, do you? When will you see it from my side? Can have it all, but I'm never satisfied. You just pray me all the time. Do they even know what it's like this high? When will you see it from my side? I can have it all, but I'm never satisfied. Time, let me take it, I just wanna get to know. So tired, never did I think it was possible. Little did I know that the movies got it right. One look and I'm feeling tight. Booty so delicious, I just wanna take a bite. Juicy baby purr when I squeeze and you let go. Moving kinda vicious when I like, so I might go. Juicy baby, juicy baby. Time, let me take it, I just wanna get to know. So tired, never did I think it was possible. Little did I know that the movies got it right. One look and I'm feeling tight. See it from my side. I can have it all, but I'm never satisfied. You just pray me all the time. Do they even know what it's like this high? See it from my side. I can have it all, but I'm never satisfied. You just free me all the time. Do they even know what it's like this high?
Shy Girl playing live for BBC Radio 6 Music at the BBC's Maida Vale studios, and the tunes you heard today were Poison and Woe, and we do have a third one which we're actually going to stash for next week. We'll play it to you then. And well, the new album Nymph is available now, and those live shows once again December the 1st at Printworks in London and the 2nd at Manchester's Albert Hall.